reading chapter 4 of Peter Pan. Would you like to join me?
Okay, before we read chapter 4 though, let's look at some of the vocabulary that you are going to come across. Stalk means to follow or creep up on. Conceited is big-headed, someone who thinks they are better than they actually are. Single file means one behind the other. Meek and mild, in the context that you're going to read them today, means someone who's gentle. A rogue is someone who's dishonest. A lean face is a thin or narrow face. Ringlets, a lock of hair in a corkscrew-shaped curl, and I've put a picture here of Captain Hook just to show you these ringlets just here. And a maiden is a young woman. So have a look when we read the text and see if you can find those words. There's also quite a lot of characters in chapter 4 as well. So let's have a quick look to see who we're going to be talking about. So this chapter has Captain Hook in it and also some of his pirates. And the chapter also has some of the lost boys in it as well. If you remember, the lost boys are the children who'd fallen out of their prams when their nurses were not looking. Nobody claimed them, so they were sent to the Neverland. In this chapter, we're also going to meet a group called the Redskins, and they're pictured here. The Redskins were the name given to the people who lived on the island before Peter Pan came, so they were like what you might call the original inhabitants of the island. Chapter 4, The Island Comes True. Now that Peter was coming back, the Neverland came to life. The lost boys set out to look for their captain, and the pirates were looking for the lost boys. The Redskins were stalking the pirates, and the wild beasts were tracking the Redskins. There were 6 lost boys: Tootles, the unlucky one; Nibs, the cheerful one; Slightly, the conceited one; Curly was always in trouble; and the twins. They crept along behind the bushes in single file, clutching their daggers. Then came the pirates with their evil looks, some wearing gold earrings, others tattooed all over. They had names like Cecco, Bill Jukes, and Gentleman Starkey. The worst one, because he looked so meek and mild, was Smee the boatswain. He had a cutlass named Jimmy Corkscrew, which he wriggled in his victims' wounds. Their leader, Captain Jazz, short for James Hook, was the most evil rogue of all. He feared nothing except the sight of his own blood, which was an ugly colour. He treated his men like dogs and smoked 2 cigars at once in a special holder. Hook had a lean, scowling face and long black ringlets. He thought he looked like Charles II and dressed like him. If any of his crew annoyed him, outshot his Hook. There would be a tearing sound, a scream, then the body would be tossed aside. Hook was Peter Pan's greatest enemy. On the trail of the pirates stole the Redskins. Great Big Little Panther was their chief, and Tiger Lily their princess. She was a beautiful, proud maiden, as brave as any warrior. Next came a procession of wild beasts, man-eating lions, tigers and the like, all with their tongues hanging out for food. Last of all there came an enormous crocodile. The lost boys reached their underground home, a cave hollowed out under the roots of 7 tall trees. Each trunk had a door, a hole just big enough for a boy to wriggle into. There was 1 door for each boy and 1 for Peter Pan. So far, the pirates had not discovered them. Although the pirates tried to catch Nibs as he ran away, Hook held them back. "1 is no good," he said. "I want all of them." And he sat down to wait while the pirates searched the wood. As he sat, Hook told Smee how Peter Pan had cut off his hand. "He threw it to a passing crocodile," Hook snarled. "It liked the taste so much that it has followed me ever since, licking its lips for the rest of me. Luckily, it also swallowed a clock. It goes tick, 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 so I can hear it coming and escape. One day," said Smee, "the clock will run down." "That's what I'm afraid of," said Hook. Just then a familiar sound reached Hook's ears. Tick, 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 tick. It was the crocodile. Hook and Smee dashed away, and the boys came out of hiding. Nibs rushed back, pointing up at the sky. Something like a great white bird was floating their way. They didn't know that it was actually Wendy in her nightie. Tinkerbell was flying all around her, pinching her. Wendy was moaning, "Poor Wendy," to herself. "Peter wants you to shoot the Wendy bird," Tink called to the boys. The boys always did what Peter wanted, so they hurried away for their bows and arrows. Tootles was the first back. "Quick, Tootles, quick!" Tink screamed. "Peter will be so pleased." Tootles fitted an arrow to his bow and fired. Wendy fluttered to the ground, the arrow in her heart. Okay, so we've got some comprehension questions for chapter 4. What are the names of the lost boys? What are the names of the pirates? Why is Smee the bosun the worst pirate? What does Captain Hook fear? What does Captain Hook look like? What does Captain Hook do if his crew annoy him? Where in Neverland do the lost boys live? What happened to Captain Hook's hand? Do you believe Tinkerbell that Peter Pan wants to shoot Wendy? And don't forget, you can find the answers to these questions by looking at the page numbers. So for example, if I wanted to find out what the names of the pirates are, I would need to turn to page 26. It would be absolutely fantastic if you could have a go at these questions, and please upload your work to my Twitter page, and I'd really love to see your work. Okay, thank you very much.